Welcome to this presentation on Chatbot LLM. Chatbot LLM is a system that the teachers can use to train chatbots on course material that they provide. So it could be course notes, textbooks, research papers, or any other material used in the course. This is the homepage for Chatbot LLM. This covers the overview of the project. We have some videos showing the use of the system and some of the client apps. So the web app, which I will show in this presentation, but also the Discord bot, Line bot, and some comparison videos, and any publications that are connected to this system. The two defining features of this system is that it is open access and the answers generated by the chatbot are grounded on the course material. So if it is not sure or doesn't know the answer, the chatbot will reply saying that it doesn't know the answer. To begin using the system, you would first need a license. And the easiest way to get a license is to reach out to Dr. Maiga Chang. Dr. Maiga Chang can provide you with a license. It will have a temporary password, which you can change. Once you log into the system, you can change it. And I would recommend changing it as well before using. So Dr. Maiga Chang would use this admin page to create the license and send it to you. And after you have the license, you can access the rest of the system. We have two dashboards, the management dashboard and the model testing dashboard. Those will mainly be used by the teachers to create, manage, configure the chatbot. And then we have the web application that will mainly be used by students to interact with the chatbot after the teacher has created it and configured it. So let's first start with the management dashboard. Before I explain this, I will quickly set up a course here so that hopefully by the end when I'm done explaining it, we can ask questions. But don't worry, I will go back and explain everything that's done here. So right now I'm just adding a subject. I am uploading the material for that subject, which will be just a Word document with just one paragraph to keep it simple. It'll be on machine learning. And finally, I'm selecting the model so that it can start training and we can ask questions from it afterwards. So that's the entire process. So overall, pretty fast. So now let's look at the first tab here, which is the training status. This table shows the status of all the models in the system. So for example, we have this Comp 501 course that has one model, it's completed. And you have some admin actions you can perform, like retrain it or delete it. Right now, I can see all the models since I'm logged in as an admin. But if you have a regular license, you can only see the public courses or the courses you create, and you can only retrain or delete courses that you have created. And for example, we can see that the demo one is currently queued up. And for example, this is a private course belonging to Dr. Nico. And even as an admin, unless I have the access key, I won't be able to access it. So for example, if I try to upload some material to that, then it will ask me for the access key. So even as an admin, I can't access private courses unless I have the access key. So that is the training status tab. And the first form that I used was the add subject that you can use to create a subject. The only two fields required are the ID and the name. So you can provide the ID I used was demo1 and the name was the demo course. All of these other options here can be left as defaults. They have default values and they are good to start with. I will show later how to optimize them, find the best settings, and how to change them once you have created the course. Some of the more interesting options are the web crawling frequency. That is, as a part of training the chatbot, we extract materials from any URLs present in the uploaded course materials or research papers, etc. And if those material changes, for example, if it's a forum, then you can set a frequency like weekly or monthly so that we will extract the new information and incorporate it to the chatbot's knowledge base on that time period. And we have a default model that you can set so that if a model is not specified, it will always use that default model. Right now we have 3: BERT, sentence transformer, and cosine similarity. And we have 3 prompts which you can use to change the chatbot's behavior. And we also have the generative AI provider options and the model options which you can choose. You have Gemini, OpenAI, or locally hosted models. So if you want your material to stay on our servers, you can go with a locally hosted model like Gemma or Quen and use one of those models. We have an option to cite sources. So if you check this option, the chatbot's response will contain a citation from where it obtained the material. And you can also ask feedback from users. So this is useful if you are carrying out an evaluation and you want to get the user's feedback. So you can ask, for example, satisfaction. How satisfied are you with the answers, or how relevant the answers are? You can add different types of, for example, clarity, relevance, and then optionally you can save the feedback as well. So you can later download it and use it for a paper or any sort of evaluation that you are doing. And the last option is to make it a private subject, so not everyone can access it. Those are the main options in this form. And the only 2 required ones are the subject ID and the name. After you have created the subject, you will upload the material. Um, you can upload a variety of formats, including PDF, documents, PowerPoints, Excel, text files, HTML, MP3, MP4, WAV files, and zip packages. So you can upload any of those formats. And for zip packages, we have tested specifically the format you would get from Brightspace. So if you extract a course from Brightspace and upload it here, it will correctly get all the material without needing any changes on the user's part. After the material is uploaded, we can set the training parameters. The model I chose earlier was the cosine similarity. That you cannot set any of the parameters, those are fixed. But for BERT or sentence transformer, you can set an accuracy threshold or the number of epochs you would want it to run, and then you can submit those parameters to train the chatbot. Afterwards, we have this form to change the settings. So that's partly why I mentioned you can go with the defaults, because you can update the settings at whenever you want using this form. So you can select the course, and let's say you want to try a different model. So for example, the Gemini 3.5 Flash instead of the Gemini 2.5 Flash Lite. So you can select that and update this subject with that option. Or if you wanted to cite the sources, you can select this option. And the final option is to download the feedback so that it is easier to work with. It will download as a CSV file, so you can run any evaluations on it easily. One of the courses, the ESPV one, did have some feedback. And in this case, I do have the access key for it. So let me quickly enter it in. And here you can see that we have a total of 505 feedback entries. So you can either download them all, or you can specify a date. So for example, if you want just the fall semester, you can set it to September to December, and then you will just get the feedback for that fall term. And that wraps up all the options here in the management dashboard. And let's take a look. So our demo 1 seems to be still in queue. So some model over here is being updated with some new information, most likely. So we cannot use the demo 1 for this presentation, but we can ask some questions from another model that we have trained. So you can do that on the model testing dashboard. So the model testing dashboard can be used to fine-tune the options. So when creating a course, we had a lot of options. You can use this model testing dashboard to determine which of those are the best for your course or for your chatbot. So we can go with the, for example, FST 2025 course that was trained on all the AU web pages. So we can ask it a question like, who is Dr. Maiga Chang? And let's see the response we get. Okay, so we get the response, Dr. Maiga Chang is a full professor and associate dean. So you can change an option and see how that will affect the answer. So let's change this model. For example, let's switch it to Gemini 3.5 Flash to see how that will change the answer we get. And we can ask the same question. And now the answer is different from the earlier one, since we changed the generative AI model being used for rephrasing and RAG. So if you prefer this answer, then you can save this option as the subject's generative AI model, or you can keep testing different models from, maybe you can try an open AI model or a locally hosted model. And once you have fine-tuned it, you can set it as the model to be used with this course. And same with this, all the other options. You can try different prompts, and you can show citations, etc. So this will be used mainly to fine-tune the configurations for the chatbot. And afterwards, students can use the web app to actually chat with the chatbot. So the web app doesn't have as many options. It will just be the chat box for students to ask questions from a subject. So they can select the subject they want. So they can switch the subject, for example, to ML 104, and we can pick which model you want, but that's the only option they have. You cannot change the model or the prompts, etc. And then they can ask a question like, what is machine learning? And they can get a response. This does support voice input as well. So right now it's muted. You can see at the top left, I have muted the sound, but we can turn it on. And you can also speak into speak to have your input transcribed. So let's try that. What is machine learning? Okay, and now you might be able to hear the chatbot speaking. I'm not sure, but
You didn't share. You didn't share your
okay.
own.
But if you see here,
I can
the
hear it.
chatbot is speaking to us. For now, I will mute the chatbot. So yeah, the chatbot, you can communicate with voice interfaces as well with this chatbot. And yeah, this is mainly for students to use a chatbot that's already configured by a teacher. And that wraps up this demonstration on Chatbot LLM. I will open it up for any questions.